Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to go through a full cost breakdown of our van conversion.
Behind us is our recently converted Ford Transit.
I'll put some footage over here of our van, but we have also got a full van tour video for you to check out on our channel.
Let's get started with the costs.
We're all set up on our table and chairs from the Well-Heeled Hippie store, which we love. Can't wait to use when we get to Europe and stuff.
Right, got a lot to get through. It's got a long old list.
So throughout our conversion over the last year, we actually managed to track, I think, nearly every single cost on a spreadsheet.
At least 99.9% of everything we purchased to do with the van.
Yeah.
Down to the nearest screw, at least.
I'm going to pop the spreadsheet to the side of me so that you guys can see a full breakdown of every single item and every single cost, how we have it written on the spreadsheet.
The full OCD organised list that Lauren's created throughout this whole process of building the van.
And then we will try and go through as much as possible with you as well. We've split it up into categories. So the very first category is obviously the van itself, and we didn't get it taxed and insured straight away, so we did have to pay for delivery of the van. So the van we went for is a Ford Transit. We got it from a garage secondhand, and it is a high top, long wheelbase, Mark 7 2012.
When we bought it, it did only have 105,000 miles on the clock, which for a Ford Transit is considered fairly low. A lot of people say once it's hit 1,000 miles, it's only just worn in. And a lot of vans...
1,000 miles.
What did I say?
1,000 miles.
Oh, yeah. 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
A lot of Transits get up to like over 200,000 miles. So we've got a decent lifetime of usage out of our van.
I've honestly seen some vans on like Facebook Marketplace and stuff with over 300,000 miles on the clock.
Crazy.
So yeah, the van and delivery cost us a total of 4,675. We did manage to get it down a little bit. I think it started at 5,500 maybe. So we managed to get it down a little bit.
Bit of negotiation, because we love a bargain.
We do love a bargain in everyday life, but that was also because it needed a few things at the time, I think.
It didn't have... I think one of the front headlights wasn't working. It was just lots of little bits, but the amount of inconvenience all the little bits were, it's just time and money trying to get all the little bits replaced. So we managed to barter them down, and we just said, look,
I have to do like X, Y, and Z. So basically we used that, negotiated it down a little bit, and that was the final price that we ended up paying.
Once we had the van delivered, it was then time to get it taxed and insured, so we could drive it around and collect all the materials we'd need throughout the build. And that came to a total of £989. Obviously, that price is dependent on your age, the van that you choose to buy, so it would differ.
So many different things.
Yeah, it would differ between each person.
We managed to get our insurance as a van in conversion. I know there's a lot of chat about trying to get it insured as just a panel van or a camper van, which you then have to go through and change with the DVLA and lots of different things. But yeah, we basically managed to get our insurance as a van in conversion. And yeah, I think the insurance was around the 600 mark and the rest was tax. So I don't think that was too bad. We did have a lot of quotes that were like £2,000 for the insurance.
And a lot of that comes down to like vans and pickup trucks are all classed as commercial vehicles. So they try and up the insurance, and they make it quite expensive just to insure as just a normal runaround.
Basically just pays to shop around a lot. We didn't go with any of the first quotes that we had. We knew they were really high. And we ended up going with Howden's. I've also heard really good things about Sterling Insurance and a couple of others. So definitely shop around. We actually used a self-build van Facebook group, I think, that we're in. There's basically loads of different threads on there already about insurance and who people have gone with, so that we found that really helpful.
Also, by insuring your van as a van in conversion, like people say, like once you finished your van build, it's never really finished. You always want to add little bits and
I think you can kind of keep
along
it
the road.
As that. Yeah,
it never really becomes a finished camper van because there's that wiggle room for always adding extra things.
Just one other thing about insurance before I forget is that if you are under 30 like we are and you're trying to insure a van, they will up the price. There's something to do with being under 30 and driving a van
that
like they don't like on insurance.
Like a young driver van.
That's what it is. A young driver like add-on basically. So you will typically pay a little bit more as an under 30-year-old. Yeah, there are benefits of being 30 and above.
We're not 30 yet, so we're not going to wish that away.
Next category,
base vehicle,
is the base vehicle. So this is things like having it serviced, MOT'd once we got it, And we also had quite a few missing parts. Nothing that stopped the van from working.
Weirdly.
But just weirdly, like, it's almost as if it had been stripped of all the best bits before being sold to us.
Yeah.
And we slowly realised that.
So it was an ex-council van. Obviously all the signage and stuff was taken off, apart from all the horrendous high-vis vinyl on the back that was a mission to take off.
That was a mission.
But it's almost like they had like a fleet of vans. They've had to lighten the fleet and get rid of some of the work vans, and they've taken select bits off this van to stick on their vans or replace their vans to keep good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until going throughout the van build and lifting up the seats, finding batteries missing and stuff like that, that there was a lot of extra bits or just extra costs that unfortunately we didn't see when we were viewing the van.
Yeah, probably could have got it even cheaper if we'd known about half these missing parts at the start, basically, but we didn't. We came across them like throughout. So I'm just looking now on here, and we've had things like an engine cover. When you lift up the bonnet, you're obviously meant to have an engine cover. Things like that were missing.
There's a sensor that was basically pinging a light on the dashboard saying that there was an error, part of the engine wasn't working, and there was a whole unit missing that obviously there's a sensor issue because there was no sensor.
The unit was missing,
so we had to buy the unit.
So it covers all things like that. We've also got things on here like a spare wheel that we've added to the wheel mount on the back. Oil, we had to do like an oil change. That cost about 80 quid. The full breakdown of the costs will be over here. But yeah, that's basically everything it included. So this category came to a total of £588.36.
What we can try and do as well is have like a rolling total at the bottom of the screen. Categories we'll try, or we'll get the boss to add a little total editor as we go.
Right, yeah. Okay, yeah, we can do that. It's fine.
Right, so the next category is modifications. So this is mainly external modifications on the van, such as adding all the windows, which we got from Van Pimps, adding the ladder on the back, which was a Facebook Market bargain.
40 quid for the Rhino ladder, which it should have been about 200 odd.
Yeah.
The wheel mount as well, just reading off of here, which was from eBay.
That was actually off a Land Rover, because to get a proper wheel mount for our van, it was going to be like a custom frame to stick on the back door. That's about £400.
Again, hundreds, yeah.
That wheel mount cost us £60 with delivery, and then a little bit of,
to be precise,
and then a little bit of modifications to make it fit with our wheel.
The windows, to be precise, were £334.55. If you watch our van tour video, you'll see we've got one on the sliding door, which is a fixed one. We've got a skinny one in the kitchen, which like slides open and close.
Just above the hob.
Yeah, and then we've got two quite high up on our rear doors, little square ones. So we've got 4 altogether, and I think we bought them on Van Pimps in the Easter sale last year.
Yeah.
So we got a slight discount on those. I think that was quite a good price for 4 windows.
Yeah, and that came with all the bonding, all the
2 of the bonding kits with that.
Rubber seals and stuff. And that was probably the scariest part. Well, that was the start of the scariest part of the van build. Just, cutting holes in the van will never feel normal.
The only other high cost was our Max Air fan, which we actually got from Just Campers, and that cost us 230 quid. We also upgraded all of our, I always get this wrong, wheels and tyres. So Rogue alloys.
Alloys and tyres.
Alloys and tyres. So
we bought 4 tyres through Rogue, and they were all-terrain tyres.
Those cost us £499, so basically £500, and then we got the alloys kindly gifted from Rogue as well.
And the tyre for the spare wheel on the back was just off eBay, just a cheap second-hand one, because you don't want to spend like over £150 on a tyre that's just going to be a spare one that's just going to sit on the back doors in an emergency. So we thought we'll try and get a little cheaper tyre, but it's still an off-road all-terrain tyre. So modifications came in at £1,504 and 51p.
Okay, next category is all of the appliances. This is things that are internal, inside the van. So things like our sink and our tap. We've got a composting toilet from Trelino. We were really lucky to get a lot of our appliances gifted to us by brands that we would have been purchasing them from. And that was just because we were documenting our entire build over on Insta and TikTok.
Very grateful for that.
Yeah, we've got a 70-part van build series over there that we'll slowly be posting over here on YouTube for you guys to follow along with as well.
So if you want to build your own van, there's basically a 70 video step-by-step
guide.
Yeah, how to build your van.
But then we did buy, as part of this category, our Camplux shower unit, which we got for a bargain actually off of Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. I think that was going to be about £200 new. We got it for about 80.
I was actually surprised how expensive those shower units are.
Yeah, they are quite pricey.
Yeah.
We got our diesel heater from Amazon. How much was the diesel heater?
I think that was £95.
Yeah, and we added on 3-year protection, so £111.18 for our diesel heater. Our Alpicool T60 fridge, which we are obsessed with. It's so good. It's perfect for our van build. That was kindly gifted to us. A lot of this gifted stuff we do actually have affiliate links for and discount codes for you guys. So if you are building a van, check out the description of this video because there's a lot of handy links down there, and it really helps us out as well a little bit.
Yeah.
It supports us if you shop through those links. Just looking, we also upgraded the head unit in the cab.
Yep.
Or the radio, whatever you want to call it. So you had to get a wiring harness, whatever the hell that is, for £100.
And that was actually, we were going to put it off and we were just going to keep the standard little CD unit that was in there and just use phones and data when we were using maps and stuff while we were away. And the more I thought about it, I just thought you need a good navigation system.
This is a man upgrade, basically.
Non-negotiables for the van were I want cool wheels on the van, a ladder and a wheel mat. I want it to look like a really cool off-road camper.
Unit.
And then a cool touchscreen system in the van just to make life a little bit easier.
Got the head unit from Halfords for £255.
Yeah, that's quite an expensive little upgrade that I wanted.
And then the wiring harness for it from Dynamic Sounds online, and that was £100. So bearing in mind a couple of the gifted appliances, this category came to £611.49.
And in saying that, half of that cost is the head unit. So actually, we've not spent too much on appliances and the head unit was just my little treat to the van. This is the biggest cost for the van, and it's the electrical system. So we've got a full off-grid electrical system supplied by Vanct. They helped us out with a little bit of a discount, which definitely helped with the overall price that we paid.
Just to explain quickly, Vanct are like an all-in-one place provider of electrical systems for camper vans. So they basically have a website where you can go on, and it's like super easy to use. It's like a checklist type feature on there where you can kind of go through, tick everything that you would want to be able to power in your van, how long you want to be able to go off grid for at a time, like how many days at a time. Kind of puts a system together for you and breaks it down, all the parts, all of the costs. You can add to it if you want to, you can take away from it if you want to, and it basically puts the full system together for you, which is so helpful, was for us, because we had no idea.
Zero clue.
And I feel like that's the same for a lot of people. It's the hardest part.
It's quite a daunting part of the van because when you're living in the van, you're reliant on your electrical system. You can't use anything in the back of the van if you want to plug in or so you need a decent electrical system, or at least know what your electrical system is doing.
I was going to say, like, if there was one or two things that we were thinking about outsourcing on the van, electrical system would have been one of them. But actually, we came to the conclusion that we wanted to install all of it ourselves and fully understand the system that we were going to have in the van. And I think it's been really beneficial. But how it works, basically how to troubleshoot it if anything goes wrong. Not saying we're like overnight Sparkies, although it felt like that when we were installing it. Initially, we were going to build this van just for like weekend breaks or like week-long trips. And then if you've been following our journey a bit, you'll know that we were both made redundant right at the start of the build. So it kind of changed all of our plans, and we soon realised that we'd want to be doing full-time van life, and that we needed to build a van and an electrical system to support that. So that upped our price considerably for the electrical system, and we went all out, and we've basically got ourselves a system that can support quite a few days off grid without having to plug in or charge up or anything like that. We are planning on doing a full breakdown of our electrical system in another video, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see that in the future. But yeah, as well as our Vunk system, this category also included things like our lights, all of our switches, some hookup cables. We bought a few regulators for the system.
Yep.
We had it tested by someone that came out and gave us a certificate for our electric setup after we
a campervan Sparky.
Yeah. Extra fuses, some extra cabling. In total, with a discount with the Vunk system, £2,727.74. I think this is always going to be one of the biggest or the biggest cost for anyone building a van.
Depending on how basic or advanced you want your van to be, there are cheaper options if you wanted like a big portable charge unit where you can.
And also there are a lot of different brands, so you've obviously got the Renogy stuff, which is slightly cheaper in price. Some people like it, some people don't. All of ours is Victron, so that's a slightly higher price. There's loads of things to bear in mind.
And we've actually got a link as well to the Vunk site, which if you click on it, it will give you our full breakdown of what we've actually got on our system.
Or like I said, you can use their tool and build your own, so we'll link that down below as well. Moving on, because this is going to be a hell of a long video, otherwise we need to speed up. So next category is a nice one. It's decor.
Lauren's favourite. Since we started this van, even on the day we bought the van, Lauren was like,
can't wait to decorate it.
When can I start buying paint? Like, hang on, we've not even cleared it yet. It still looks like a work van.
And then I think every month during the build I was like, when do I get to paint this van? So everything from the doorknobs on all of our overhead cabinet storage to the flooring. We've got a full-length mirror inside our little wardrobe. We've got all of our storage baskets.
That was a non-negotiable for Lauren, having a full-length mirror to check. Oh, and a wardrobe, actually,
we've got a wardrobe. So yeah, all of the breakdown for decor will be over here, so you can see all of the separate prices. The mirror is actually quite cool. It's a big like perspex mirror from sheetplastics.com, and that was 50 quid, which I think is quite good, and it literally just like drilled into place, came with drill holes already. Our cushions, all of our bedding. We've got one of my favorite parts of the build is our checkered wallpaper, which goes with our like retro theme that we went with. That was just from Amazon. How much was the wallpaper? £25. And we actually had so much of that we managed to use it on our slide out table.
We stuck it in the cutlery drawers as well.
Yeah, the cutlery drawer. We made inserts out of that as well, so that went really far. Our little antique frame wall was literally 50p frames from a car boot and then some photos printed out, so that was like a £3 DIY fun job. We've got things like our lace curtains that we DIY'd to cover all of our windows. That was 20 quid from B&M. We had some foam that we bought from Dunelm to be able to do our bench seat with behind us. That was £40, and then we actually upholstered that with some fabric that was kindly sent to us from a follower who works for like a fabric company, and a lot of the fabric goes to waste usually.
Just bulks of fabric.
Or goes to charity shops as like rags, which is really good, but they still have it in like excess. So she was like, I'll send you some, and then we managed to use that on our seat. So love that. This category, decor, came to a total of £330.33. Next category is
fixings, which is just a never-ending list. As you go through the build, you think you've got all the bits you need, and then it's like, oh, we need that, or oh, that screw's too long, we need a smaller one.
Have we got this screw? No, great, we're gonna have to go buy a pack of 100 from Wickes.
This fixings list includes different tapes we've used, like duct tape and cable ties to hold different things together, screws, hinges.
All of our runners.
Quite a
few different runners from Amazon. I think they were all the same brand. We've got our Amazon storefront link below as well, so you can find the same ones. But quite a few different like variations of them for things like our fridge, which is on runners, our toilets on runners.
And nuts and bolts, trim. To sort of tidy up edges. You got Velcro for things like our bug screen, which we've added.
We've got the metal rail and little sockets for those from Homebase for the wardrobe hanging space for a tenner. Basically just adds up.
And you can never almost predict what you're going to need next. It's not until, we want to add curtains. Oh, we've not got the curtain wire. Let's back to Wickes or Dunelm. And £346.23, which...
Ouch. Doesn't sound too bad, but when you think it's just nuts, bolts, screws, it's like
when a little box of screws can cost you like less than £3, that's a lot of money on, on bits.
Next is our gas system. So we went with a 16-litre underslung gas tank at the back of our van, and that is just simply powering a hob, 2-burner gas hob, And then we've got an outdoor heated shower setup with the Camplux unit. We kindly had our gas tank gifted to us by LPG Shop, who are based in Leicester. They're quite a popular choice to get your gas tanks from.
Yep.
And then just down the road from them, and this isn't too far from us, so we were lucky enough to go to this place and have our gas tank installed, was Snail Vans. So they did that for us, and we paid for half of the installation. So this cost covers just half the installation, our hob itself, some copper pipe, a barbecue point, some vents and adapters and things like that. So in total, the gas came to £528.41p.
And it's actually the only thing on our van that we had outsourced help for. We were quite nervous to just mess with gas. I mean, doing the water tanks was nerve-wracking and doing the electrics, but playing with gas, we were a little bit, not sure.
Yeah, having the reassurance that it's all done correctly and that there's no gas leaks and that it's all been tested.
And there's actually a lot of different regulations. When we spoke to them sort of throughout their installation, there's so many different regulations with motorhome vehicles and the gas that is in them.
We basically had to make a few adjustments before the guys at Snail Vans could even install our gas for us. So we thought we had enough with our max air fan and an opening window above the kitchen, but we actually needed another vent in the ceiling for some free flow ventilation, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And then we had to add 3 or 4.
We've got 4
drop vents in the bottom, in the flooring of the van as well. I'm a bit of a worrier, so I wouldn't really be able to just crack on, I don't think. I'd worry too much about it.
And even once it was all installed and we did our first trip, Lauren was still scared to use the hob. I don't know if that was just an excuse to not do the cooking, but
it was. No, I was actually
I'm scared of the hob.
Yeah,
right,
I don't know.
I'll cook.
Next one is another big one. So this is material, specifically, or mainly wood. So this was everything from buying ply to buying wooden batten, all of the cladding.
Never-ending wood. You think you bought enough ply to
do a job,
build something, and then no, we need more ply.
Need more. All of the cladding. So if you've watched the van tour, you'll see that we've got cladding everywhere. So it's also included quite big, like thick timber for our bed. It also includes our slats for the bed, which are from IKEA, and the bed beams, which are the Scorva ones. A little bit of aluminium, some perspex for a few different jobs. Carpet. Stretch carpet, which we've got on the cab side of our DIY bulkhead. And then some little wooden rod for a few little nooks and our spice rack in the kitchen. So mainly wood and then a few other little materials. This came to a total, guys, of, I don't even want to say it, it's actually sickening, £1,078.61, which means I've spent £1,000 of my hard-earned cash on wood.
That's a lot of money on wood.
Which is really sad. I tried to categorise like what we were using certain wood for, but obviously sometimes you'd buy like a sheet of ply and use it for
5 jobs.
2 or 3 different jobs, so it's quite hard to track.
Throughout the build, before we'd go and buy our wood, we do like little sketches of, right, we need wood here. We try and
calculate it.
We try and measure the distance, and 9 times out of 10 we weren't far off with the amount of wood we needed, but it was always like, we need a little bit more and you've not got any more, so you need to buy a whole nother length.
We did do a bit of research into like local timber yards, because I know a lot of people advise to go there and it'll be a bit cheaper than like a general store. But the only one that we have round near us, which would have been convenient, actually worked out more expensive, which was a bit annoying, so we didn't really have like that benefit. So we were actually going to Wix. Lewis has got his trade card, so we were getting 10% off, but it wasn't the cheapest, but it wasn't the most expensive either. Initially, we were going to try and upcycle a lot of wood, but it just came down to time frame.
The next cost was the insulation. So that was a combination of thermoliner, sound deadening, you've got a eco fleece, and this was all from Dodo Mat.
Firstly, we purchased a load of sound deadening sheets, which is included in this cost. And then, thankfully, we were actually gifted quite a lot of the thermoliner and fleece. Which I can't believe how much of that we used as well. I think we might have over insulated a little bit, to the point where we actually struggled to get 5G or like 4G connection in the van.
We've made like a black hole. As soon as you close the door, it's like the signal was gone. Kingspan. So we've got a hard foam which is in our bulkhead, which is actually the best thing we did. And in the floor as well, we've got the Kingspan. So we did have to buy quite a lot of other insulation for other bits around the van as well. The total for insulation was £170.64. Yay, nice cheap category. Next one is tools, and
This will vary for everyone because obviously you need a lot of power tools to be able to do a lot of the building in the van.
Drills, jigsaws. You might even need a grinder for different things.
Lewis had a lot of these big power tools from his landscaping work, so we didn't actually have to go out and buy any power tools. It was just smaller things like a heat gun, Torx bit set. We've got sponges, brushes, toffee wheel. We also paid for the subscription to Van Space, which is where we designed our van in 3D before we got started. Rollers, scrapers, pipe cutters. Yeah, this wasn't a massive cost for us. This only came to £118 and 39p.
Another £100.
Just £100. What's £100 when you've spent thousands already on a van conversion, to be honest?
Next up is plumbing, which again varies from van to van. Some people have underslung, like what we have, which is a really good space saver. But there are obviously cheaper options where you can just have big, like 20-litre jerry cans under your kitchen sink. And just take it out, empty it, fill it up. So we've got a 86-litre underslung freshwater tank, and I think it's a 36-litre grey tank. And with the grey tank, we've got a little indicator under our kitchen, so that'll tell us when it's full. So we've also got a level indicator on our freshwater tank, so we know when we need to fill up. And
the water tank kit we actually got from campervanconversion.com. That was one of the sort of bigger costs of the whole plumbing system, was the tanks themselves. So that came to £325. And then everything else is just all of the little bits, like
you got the water pump itself, the accumulator,
connectors,
valves, clips, reducers, different sized pipe,
different sized valves, elbows, connectors. If I'm honest, this is the one part of the build that Lewis took the lead on and I didn't really get involved with. You did research for days throughout the plumbing system, worked it all out yourself. And I know you can buy kits with all of these bits in, but from Lewis's research, he reckoned he could do it cheaper buying all the parts separately. I don't know if it worked out that much cheaper in the end.
I think we were just under.
So in hindsight, go for a kit.
You could just buy a kit. Big one. This was £701 and 4p.
It's quite a lot, but half of that is the tank kits themselves. Thing underslung, I think generally you pay a slightly higher price tag for, right? Okay.
Next up,
products. So this is absolutely everything from the Hammerite paint to treat rust.
This was never ending.
All the adhesives, all the different sealants, all of our Dulux paint for the inside of the van. We've got military paint still sat in the garage ready to paint the outside of the van. We've got rust sprays, Tetrasil for underneath the van treating, varnishes, leak products, sealant removers,
treating the plastics in the cab to make them look nice and black instead of grey,
everything
shoe polish to treat the bumpers, because we wanted to do a budget bumper like treatment to make it black.
One of the higher costs was the military paint, which we haven't used yet for the outside of the van. That was from tradeforpaint.com. That was £70. So many different sealants, adhesives. We had an issue when we were building our van with our Max Air fan leaking. So we had to use sealant remover, completely take that out and put it back in, which meant buying loads more sealant.
That was a stressful day.
So products came to a total of £463 and 13 pence. Ouch. I don't think it's too bad, but upgrades.
So this was little sort of miscellaneous things that you don't necessarily need to replace if you're just happy to leave them, but little things
bit picky. We like to
on the van just for functionality and visuals. One of the rear tail lights had a crack in it when we first bought the van.
All new Ford badges that Lewis wanted because they were like a bit weathered and crappy.
Replacement buttons for in the cab where some of them were a bit stiff and not working.
Well, we did a full kind of strip out of the cab quite early into the build. So a lot of this category is things like kick plates, cab mats, door seals, window buttons, door clips, like loads of different little bits for the cab.
Even the interior bulbs, they were all yellow and orangey, so I thought, well, let's
just
replace them.
Windscreen wipers, I can see on here,
a lot of it's just
quid.
Sort of aesthetic things, but some things that are actually functional that if you change them, it will better the van. And these upgrades came in at £206 and 2p.
Next one's another big one, and it's quite an important one, and I think this can kind of be endless and we'll probably carry on as we travel around in the van, but it is security. So without going into too much detail, we have deadlocks, we have the wheel lock, cameras, we've got some Reolink security cameras for the outside of our van, so things like smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms. Obviously that's for like our security and our benefit.
Health and safety.
Yeah, it's kind of health and safety and a bit of security. We so far have spent a total of £624.36 on security bits.
And the final category is van life, and this is again personal preference, just extra bits that
it's not really part of the conversion. It's basically everything we've chosen to buy to take on the road with us. So it's things like
van life,
wheel chucks if we get stuck. It's things like the seat covers that we wanted to add,
having jump leads, a shovel in case you get stuck anywhere, you can dig yourself out.
Lewis had fun basically splurging a little bit of extra money on all these little gadgets that he wants to store in the back in case we ever need them. Got our Anchor Nebula, which is our projector, so that we can watch a few shows and stuff whilst living van life. And we got that for a bargain off a Facebook Marketplace for £125. So a lot of this is actually secondhand. But it's just little things like the shower tent, so we can do our outdoor shower privately.
Adapters and
everything that if you were to turn the van upside down would fall out, other than our clothes and stuff we already owned. We spent a total of £457.79 on extra bits.
And I guess that sort of category you could probably take off the end van build total, because it's not so much a material or something that contributes towards the actual build of the conversion.
Yeah, that completes all of our costs. And bearing in mind that is the van, everything we've done to the van in terms of the conversion, everything we've bought to put inside of the van,
all the external modifications, all the underneath modifications, having it serviced, MOT,
everything. So, drum roll please. The total for our van conversion was £16,121.05, which I think we're quite happy with.
Yeah.
We had an initial budget of 10. That was before things changed and we wanted to do full-time van life. So we knew that was going to increase. I will be so intrigued to see what everyone else thinks. So definitely leave us a comment and let us know whether you think that's a lot, whether you think that's quite
really
a good price.
Yeah. Even in comparison to your own builds, are the things that we've got that you wish you had, or things that you've got that
we don't have?
Yeah, we don't have.
Yeah. That is the final cost of our van conversion. I hope that this was helpful.
Not too boring.
Not too boring, because I know that a video like this would have really helped us at the start of our build.
A realistic sort of eye-opener to what expenses you can expect
to pay. And also like an itemised list. A lot of our items were Amazon, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, but also what I would say is to try and, if you've got time to source stuff, try and source stuff secondhand in advance. Charity shops, car boots, online marketplaces, things like that can save you a hell of a lot of money. So if you have the time, definitely start sourcing early, and you could probably get a lot of these things cheaper. Again, let us know what you think of the final cost, and head over to our van tour to have a little look around the inside of the van as well. We hope you like it. And
thanks for watching if you've made it all the way to the end after all of that
congrats if you've made it all the way to the end. Probably should have said at the start to grab a cuppa for this one. We'll be back with another video soon. It'll probably be a breakdown of our electrical system, which will be the last video before we head on our European adventures. Our full-time van life will start very soon. So definitely subscribe, like, comment, all of that good stuff if you're interested
in
following the journey. Thanks for watching.
Bye.